How's it going, YouTube? It's RJ here, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking about my interpretation of the Funko and Pokemon deal that has been made. Now, as you guys may have heard, Funko is now releasing Pokemon pop figures, and that's phenomenal, in my opinion. I have been in love with the series my whole life. I've started playing Pokemon since I got my Game Boy, which was, I don't even know when. But I started playing with Fire Red, and I've grown with the series since then. And I absolutely love the games. And this is probably the biggest franchise that Funko has acquired since maybe like Game of Thrones or Harry Potter. This is a huge franchise. This is bigger than them, in my opinion, because Pokemon's been around for much longer and has a much bigger fan base, in my personal opinion. And I just want to go give you guys my speculation on what's going to be happening, what's not going to be happening, things that have a small chance of happening and things that have a decent chance of happening. This is just like my personal opinion. And why should you guys believe me and listen to what I have to say? I feel like I have a strong resource when it comes to my involvement with Pokemon. I've been doing this on my channel since 2013. I started learning. I've been researching on Pokemon for my channel, honestly. So that way I could give away, do tutorials, and just have as much information on the way Pokemon works as a company. So let's get into this. Now, what is known so far? Funko has acquired the rights to make Pokemon Pops. Now, this was done because of a deal from the Pokemon Company International, and they released the image of the very first Funko Pop that is a Pokemon, and that is going to be this Target exclusive Pikachu. Now, I absolutely love the design. At first, I hated it just because I hated the mouth in Funko Pops. I don't think really should have mouths all too much. I love the Joker mouths, though. But the mouth has grown on me, and I love this Pikachu. Now, this is slated to come out on July 29th. Now, that isn't 100% official. However, it's going to happen around July 29th. So that's when you should check your Target stores for this Pikachu, because it is only a Target exclusive. And also, there will be a 10-inch version of this same exact Funko Pop being released. But that's all we know so far. And this is where a lot of people have started speculating and saying, ooh, I want to see this, I want to see that, I want to see this. And I'm looking at a few of these speculations and I'm like, I don't think a lot of these things are going to happen. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is what it definitely doesn't mean. Nintendo will not have Funko Pops. Now, I can't say they won't in the future, however, just because they've got the rights to make the Pokemon Pops does not mean Nintendo will have any Funko Pops. So you don't expect your Mario, Zelda, Samus, Link, all those Pops, just because Pokemon Company International and Nintendo work very closely, but they're not the same exact company. And it's going to take some time before Nintendo gives out the license for their characters. So Pokemon is just its own individual company. They do work, like I said, they do work with Nintendo, and they release their games through Game Freak, but it doesn't mean that Nintendo will be having Funko Pops very soon. So people who are speculating on that, it would be cool, but don't expect it to happen relatively soon. Also, don't expect there to be Funko Pops of every single last Pokemon. It would be cool. I would be broke, but it's feasibly impossible. We have just now the announcement for Zeraora with the new Pokemon movie, and Zeraora has been known for a while. He's the electric fighting type, mythical legendary of the it's the Alola region, and there's going to be 807 Pokemon when Zeraora is officially released into the game. That's a lot of Pops. That's a lot. Now, it's not going to happen. Pokemon they would be like, sure, go ahead, make designs of all of ours. However, Funko doesn't have the resources to make all that just yet. Now they will come out in waves, and that's what Funko does. So a lot of Pokemon will come out, but you can't be upset that your favorite Pokemon does not release immediately. That's not how Funko works. That's not how this is going to be. So if you're going to complain and whine about it, I don't feel sorry for you, because there's going to be a lot of Pokemon I love personally that won't be made into Funko Pops anytime soon. So don't expect every single last Pokemon to be made. Also, what this more than likely doesn't mean, TV characters will not be made into Funko Pops. Now, I'm going to say that as in like the way that you know them from the TV shows. Now, what I'm going to talk about primarily is the original TV show where you have Ash, you have Misty, Brock, you got Professor Oak, you have Tracy, Sketch. Oh my gosh, you have a lot of characters. However, don't expect them to come into Funko form. At least not in the way you expect them. Now, what I mean as in, you have this Pokemon is coming through the Funko Pop lines of games. Now, what this means is Pokemon is not its own franchise. It's not its own series. It's not its own it's not its own line. As in, how Game of Thrones has its own lines and Harry Potter has its own line. Pokemon does not have its own line, and it's under the games category. Now, if you wanted to see Pokemon Pops made of characters like Ash, that would be under the animation line. Just like Dragon Ball would be, just like a few other ones would be. Just because, it's an anime, the TV show. But the biggest audience when it comes to Pokemon is through the games. It's through Pokemon Go. It's through the main series games. That's the biggest audience, and that's who Funko has noticed is the biggest audience. That's how Pokemon has noticed is the biggest audience, and that's why they're doing it this way, because they want to go and reach out to as big of a community as possible, and that's a smart business decision. And it's really difficult for them to just say, hey, I know you guys like this TV show, let's go make this, but we're going to exclude, some Pokemon that haven't been even released in the TV show. So it's going to be very weird. Now, it doesn't mean that it's going to not happen. There can always be, an Ash coming out in the animation wave or the Pokemon wave, but it wouldn't make sense to be under games. And I don't think that's going to happen specifically through this. And that's just my personal opinion. So it's going to be upsetting to a lot of people who are looking forward to TV moments of maybe Ash crying with Pikachu or Ash holding Pikachu, Misty with Togepi. But that's just the way that it is. Now, what could happen? Since this is based on the video game, Funko has access to not only Pokemon, but a lot of trainers, leaders, and champions. Now, what this means is you can actually see Misty, Brock, Professor Oak. They won't be the way that you 100% remember it. I mean, the character designs are pretty much verbatim the same. However, it's going to be under the games line, and that's really cool in my opinion. Now, what they could do, Funko, if they were extremely smart about it, they could release not only Pokemon characters, but trainers. Now, I drew out this concept art of Cynthia with Garchomp, and this would be a 2-pack. This would be a way to sell a lot of trainers and get some commons sold. And that is honestly, really cool. And I think that this has the decent potential of happening. Now, I can't say it's positive. I'm pretty sure that the first wave of Funko Pops for Pokemon will be specifically Pokemon. Now, that's probably just a given just because, hey, this is the first one, let's go do specifically Pokemon. But the integration of trainers and leaders and champions, in my opinion, would be pretty cool. So you can see your characters like Misty coming out here, but as their video game counterparts, which they look this exact same. However, it's not exactly how you guys remember it if you guys are specifically going off the TV show. Now, what has a good chance of happening? Now, there is a very good chance that fan favorite Pokemons like Lucario, Greninja, Darkrai will happen, and even like Rayquaza. There's a strong love for Pokemon, and people have their favorites, and Pokemon also tends to push certain characters out to be, a fan favorite. As in, Lucario got his movie. Greninja's Ash is like number 2 Pokemon when it comes to the Kalos region, and there's a decent chance that you can see from this new wave that there's going to be a lot of Pokemon outside of just Pikachu. Uh, it's, I don't know how to explain it. There's like a really good chance that Pokemon will push their, like main mascots coming out, and Pokemon that are just relatively loved. Now, that means like Pokemon like Gardevoir, Sylveon, Darkrai, Lugia. They have a decent chance of coming out because they are fan favorites. And there's also a really good chance that if the Funko was smart with it, they release shinies as the chase variants. And of course, people go crazy over chases. Not everybody knows what a shiny is, but for me to inform you guys quickly, if you guys can see, this was my old, logo my avatar that I used to use. But that Sylveon right there is a different colored Sylveon than the regular one. The regular one's pink and then has blue tips. This one is blue and has pink tips. And now this is a shiny. It's like a really rare variant that has a different color palette. And that's exactly what a chase is. So there's a good chance that chases will happen with Funko Pops for Pokemon, and it will be the shiny variants, because that not only makes sense, but it probably be the coolest thing. So it'd be a lot of way to gain revenue for both companies, and I think this will happen not right now, but a little further down the line. What I'm almost certain will happen, though, we will have Eevee, Charizard, Mewtwo, and some other Gen 1 Pokemon in the first wave after Pikachu's announced. The reason I say this is the way that Pokemon does their marketing. The very next game coming out is Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee. This is going to be a Nintendo Switch game that is going to take us back to the very first generation, which is Gen 1, where we are in Kanto again. And what this means is they are probably going to be pushing the crap out of this. And now that's how they always do it. As in, like, when X and Y came out, they pushed Greninja crazily. Like, Ash ended up having Greninja, and there was a variant of Greninja where he's Ash Greninja. That's actually a version of Greninja even in the video game. It's called Ash Greninja. And that's crazy. Like, they usually push out what's coming up next in most of their marketing. So like I said, Smash Bros was coming out the same time that XY was coming out, so they pushed Greninja. With I'd like to say, I can't even remember half of them. With the Sinnoh region, they pushed Lucario. Lucario's a fan favorite. Lucario's in Smash. So that's why I think that most likely the very first wave is going to contain Eevee. It's going to contain Charizard, because that is a fan favorite and from Generation 1, and will probably bring in the most amount of revenue. And also Mewtwo, I think, will have a very strong chance of happening, because that is the main boss. Like, that is the main Pokemon from the Kanto region. Now, Mew also has a chance. However, I think they're probably going to push more towards Mewtwo, just because Mewtwo also has variants in the Megas, which is another thing entirely. I mean, there's a lot when it comes to Pokemon. So, I think personally that Pokemon, the next wave, will be pushing for the Pokemon Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu. Now, how can I say this for certain? On top of all that, there have been leaks that there's going to be a whole crap load of Eevee plushes coming out. There were a whole bunch of, I don't know if this was just like fan made or anything, but there were like Mimikyus that were all colored the same way as Eevees, like Eevee Evolution. So I think that this is probably going to be what's happening with Funko and Pokemon in the near future, like the next wave after Pikachu. Now, what I personally would like to see happen is for them to make Funko Pops for all the fans. I would love to see an Ash Pop. I would love to see a Misty Pop from the Heart Gold and Soul Silver era where she's wearing her blue and white outfit. I love Pokemon in general, and I'm a huge fan of this franchise. And honestly, this franchise is humongous. There's so much that they can do, and I'd love to see pretty much any of it. And I don't want to just see like just fan favorites. Honestly, I would like to have an Alamomola Pop or a Greninja Pop just equally. Sylveon's going to be my number one with Kingler, Charizard, and Gardevoir. But, I would love to see more Pokemon be made. And I know that it's going to expect high aspirations, high expectations for me. Personally, I have a huge high expectation for Funko when it comes to this. And I want to see them succeed, and I'm going to be very critical of the Pokemon Pops because that's my forte. And honestly, I'm just happy in general about this whole deal even being made. It's a really good business move for Funko. It's really good for Pokemon. It's going to cause the mass hysteria that's for Pokemon that's been raging since 1999 that got resurged back in 2016 with the release of Pokemon Go. It's going to be amazing for both companies, and I would like to see them succeed and do pops of just, things that will make all the fans happy, all the people who love the TV show or play the Pokemon Go game or are hardcore fans like me that would love to see a Cynthia pop. But I'm just super excited. Now, the last thing I wanted to talk about is what's going to be happening for my channel personally. If you guys want to leave the video now, I'm done talking about Pokemon Funko Pops. But yeah, this is what's going to be happening with my channel. First of all, my content's going to start shifting towards Pokemon rather than Funko in the coming weeks. I mean, there's SDCC that's just got wrapped up, and there's a few things I have planned with Funko still. However, I'm going to be pushing hardcore towards Pokemon, like really, really hard. Weekly pack openings will happen again. Shiny hunts will be returning full force. Also, there will be Funko videos and hauls on every Thursday or Friday. It depends on what day I can actually do it. And then a Pikachu pop giveaway will be happening on this channel in the future. So definitely check that out if you guys are interested. It should be happening as soon as I get both pops. And that's probably going to be one of the last giveaways I'm doing on this channel for a decent amount of time. But the last thing I want to talk about is I'm going to be designing a new avatar, and I'm actually going to be doing some art on this channel, like drawing. I want to start drawing a little design Pokemon characters designed as Funko Pops. I absolutely loved it. I drawn a couple, and I don't have the images for you other than that Cynthia and Garchomp. But I would like to actually draw some stuff and move my channel towards Pokemon again, because I've been lacking a little bit, but I hope you guys understand. But yeah, that's it for this video. If you guys did enjoy, please hit that thumbs up button. And I will see you guys next time with more Pokemon and Funko content. So until then, YouTube, goodbye.